Hello everyone, welcome back to my intro for my project pan for 2024. Now I've been doing project pans for a very long time and I love them. I did recently conclude my 2023 project pan and I mentioned that I used up 50 items in that. So I find that by project panning, it's a way for me to target products I want to use up for whatever reason, and it really helps me focus and get those products used up. I find if you are new to project panning and you find it overwhelming, or you haven't tried it and you don't understand why people do it, essentially people do it because it helps them get rid of either products they don't want anymore, products that might be getting a bit old, whatever it happens to be. It's a bit of a challenge, it's a bit of fun. I don't just use my project pan products. I think that's really important to note that these are sort of my default. So I have them in sort of a tub on my desk, and every day if I just want to use a full face of makeup and I don't want to think about what I'm applying because I want it to be quick, I want it to be easy, I reach for my project pan products. There are days where I want to play around. I might want to try a different eye product. I might want to try a different lip. I might want to try a different highlighter, whatever it happens to be, and I give myself that flexibility. So if I use sort of like 80% of the makeup, my project pan products, and then 20% I can play around with, I still see really good progress if I stick to that throughout the year. So this project is going to be very similar to my last ones. It's a full face of makeup. I'm picking certain products out. I want to use them and I'll explain why. And then what I'll do is once I use up a product, I'm going to roll in a product to replace it. So I always have sort of like a full face of products to go. So now I'm going to go through the products that I am targeting at the start of this year. There are some that are like almost full. There are some that are almost done. So there's like a variety of levels. I like doing that as well because it keeps you motivated. So when I check in every month, I want at least one product to be used up. It keeps me motivated. I do find that with the majority of products, it takes, like if you talk about face products, like things you put all over your face, so foundations, powders, stuff like that, I find that it will take you at least 3 to 4 months to see some good progress or even start using up a product. When it comes to colored products, lip products, cheek products, eyeshadows, you're looking for like 6 months plus. So it's good to have a balance and like maybe eyeliners that are half used or mascaras that are nearly done, just to sort of keep that sort of progress happening and keep sort of feeling like you've achieved something every time you do a check-in. So that's what I like to do. Now I did actually do a live chat a few months ago where I was sort of going through my collection and some of my followers are helping me choose products. So a lot of those products are in here. I did tweak a few of them. So a lot of them will be familiar with people that watch that. And then some of them are carry-on products from my last project pan because I didn't finish all the products right at the end of that. So the first thing is a primer. So I'm carrying over my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I really like this. It's a really nice hydrating primer. It's probably best for me in winter, currently in summer. But I am actually introducing some more matte products, and I find for my skin anyway, I quite like the mix of a hydrating primer with a matte base. I feel like it sort of takes down some of the dryness of the matte. It means it sort of blends a little bit more sheerly, so it looks more natural. So this one, I'm going to keep track of the weights of this, but it was one that I introduced last year and I'm continuing it on. With foundations, I'm actually introducing sort of two. The first one is the Covergirl Outlast Extreme Wear 3-in-1 Foundation. I really like this. I think it wears really nicely. I thought it's a good time to bring it in because it's sort of like a long wear sort of budge proof foundation, and I'm currently in the middle of summer. So in Australia, this is really good because it means it's going to wear through sort of sweaty makeup and whatnot. This is a little bit too full coverage for me on a daily basis, so I will be mixing this probably with the primer a little bit to sort of sheer it out. One thing I've noticed as well, it's a little bit too dark for me. I tried to use this the other day and I'm like, this is too dark. So to tweak the color of this, I'm actually going to pan it alongside this, which is my Marc Jacobs Extra Shot. It's the Caffeine Concealer and Foundation in the shade Light 150. Now this is too light for me, so I'm hoping that mixed together, they will create the right shade. It is going to be a lot of coverage, but again, I'm going to try to sheer it out a little bit, but I thought that that's a nice sort of combo and I can tweak it as I need to. So both of these are going to be panned. Both of these are almost full. So I'm thinking that these are going to last quite some time, especially if I apply them a bit more sheerly. I think these are probably going to be products that are in my project pan for a good like 4 or 5 months, but that's all right. I'm committed to the cause. Another reason why I introduced that Marc Jacobs one is because the concealer that I wanted to focus on predominantly is one that I think I'm nearly done with. This is an e.l.f. concealer. This is called the Flawless Brightening Concealer, and I don't think I have much of this left. It's one of those concealers that you click up and it's got a little brush and it's quite sheer. So I find that this is a good concealer if I want a little bit of something under my eyes on low makeup days. But in terms of competing with a high coverage foundation, I don't think this is going to compete very well. So I feel like it's not a bad idea to have a more full coverage concealer for days where I need it, and then also a lower coverage concealer on days where I want minimal makeup, because this is very sheer. It's very pretty and it's quite luminous, but it is, once you blend it in, it almost like blends to not much. Now, to keep track of this, I could weigh it, but I'm just holding it up to the light and I can see that this is, so it's one of those clickable products that the lever sort of pushes up as you use the product and it pushes the product out. I think the top of the sort of platform is here. So I'm going to mark that, and I actually do have quite a lot left. It's about half the tube. So it's probably more than I thought. This feels very light. So I'm like, I thought there was not much in it, but I think from looking at it and holding it up to the light, there is more than I expect. So this might actually last a bit more than I was thinking it would, but that's okay. It's got its use. Something that I introduced, I think in November in my project pan of 2023 was the Nikkia Joy. This is the Velvet Finishing Powder. I'm just using this up because it works best for me in summer, which is what it is, and I have had it for a little while. Also, the packaging has cracked. Now, I'm going to keep weights of this because it's sort of hard to gauge how much product you have left when it comes to a loose powder, but I think if I settle it, it's around half the container. So there's still quite a few months worth of product in this. It is a very nice powder, and I actually feel like I need a little bit more at the moment to just set under here. So you can see it does sort of blur a little bit. It's very pretty. So look at that. That looks nice. I just find that in winter for me, it's a little bit drying. So I thought this is the right time to pan it. And my goal is to pan it before we get into the cooler weather, when my skin becomes really dehydrated, and when I apply powders like this, it ends up looking a bit scaly in my forehead. So the goal is to use this up by the middle of the year. Okay, for bronzer, I was hoping to be a little bit more ambitious and go a bit of a darker bronzer, but as my skin is at the moment, which is quite fair, I'm finding a lot of my bronzers that I have look a bit muddy on me. So I'm going to continue my Kevyn Aucoin. This is the Neo highlighter in the shade Sahara. Essentially, this is carried over from my last project pan, so if you watch that, you're quite familiar. It's essentially like a champagne highlighter that goes to a bit of a rosy sort of highlighter and then a bronzy highlighter. Now, these are the term highlighter is a little bit loose. It's got a little bit of a glow to it, but this could be an all-over face powder. It's not that like blinding highlighter. It's quite a soft highlighter. So the way I tend to use this is I'll use this portion as a highlighter. So I sort of go into the half and I'll use it as a highlighter, and it's quite soft. I've already got highlighter on, obviously, so it's, but if you can see it here, it's just like a soft sort of glow. And then I'll use this outer half portion as a bit of a sort of defining color. So I haven't got any bronzer on today, so I'll show it to you a little bit. I might actually do a demo using all this makeup and show you the look that it creates. But if I put a little bit on, there's a little bit of a glow, but there's also a little bit of bronzy sort of definition it gives. So I quite like this as a bit of a like face shaping product. So because I can use this in fairly large areas, I'm hoping I'll just make that pan get bigger and bigger, but I do want to use this up. But I've also decided to pan a highlighter. Now this is a much more pigmented highlighter, so this one will probably last almost throughout the whole year. This is by Jouer, and it is the powder highlighter in rose gold. Now this is quite a nice highlighter because it's almost like a pink highlighter that has this sort of like soft champagne gold shift. So when I swatch it, it actually looks more yellow than it does pink. So I thought this is something that I'm going to start in summer because again, this sort of shade suits me a bit better in summer. But again, I might actually do a tutorial where I sort of, not tutorial, but a demo where I try all this makeup on and let you know what I think about it and how it all looks together. But this is a bit of an ambitious one because I do think this is going to take some time to use up, and it's been used, but there's a lot of product in here. This is 4.5 grams of product and it's fairly intense highlighter. So I'm not going to use it like really heavy handed. So that one is a bit of an ambitious one that I'll hopefully see good results on at the end of the year. I've also got 2 blushes. So originally I wanted to pan this. This is the MAC Glow Play blush in the shade That's Peachy. Now I love the shade. It's a putty blush. So the main reason I wanted to focus on this was because it does have a tendency or a risk that it's going to dry out because it is putty. I love the effect of it. It's got this sort of luminosity to it. So it's a peachy color, obviously, but it does have this sort of luminosity built in that it's so easy to apply. You can apply it with your fingers, you can apply it with a sponge, you can apply it with a brush. I find it doesn't lift my base, and it almost has this sort of like soft diffused powder finish to it. So it doesn't sit really oily on my oily skin. It tends to just look really beautiful and gives this beautiful sort of peachy color, but then it catches the light and it's really luminous, which I love. So this is something that I'd wear just on its own. It doesn't actually need a highlighter with it, which is problematic when you're trying to pan a highlighter at the same time. I'll show it closely applied when I do a demo of this, but yeah, I mainly wanted to pan this because I love peachy blushes. They're my favorite color blushes, but also because of the formula. I've had it for a few years and I'm just aware that it's the most likely blush in my collection that's going to go off. So it's going to be a focus. I don't want it to go off. It's so beautiful. But then I also want to carry over my blush from last year because this one I made such good progress on. I'd been using it the majority of the year and I don't think I have that much left to go. This is more of a matte peach blush. It does have a slight sheen to it, but nothing as luminous as the MAC one. So this one would be better under the highlighter. So if I want a day where I want to really ramp up the highlighter, this is a blush that will probably be better to use. This is a really beautiful peach, and because I can see the pan rings, I feel like this is actually not going to take that much time to pan. So I'm probably going to alternate the two, decide which one I feel like using, but I'm probably going to focus on this one a little bit more at the start of the year and then ultimately sort of switch over to the putty one as this one gets used up. But they're both really pretty and I don't want to put that one back in my collection. All right, onto eyes. I'm not going too much this year. I'm sort of pulling it back and seeing where I sort of want to go with it. I'm carrying over my eyeshadow base from last year. So last year I was panning my NARS. This is the Tinted Smudge Proof eyeshadow base in the shade Medium Dark. Now I really like this because it not only works as like a cream matte sort of defining eyeshadow, but it works really beautifully as a base as well. And it also, if you blend it out into the crease, so you apply it in the lid, blend it out to the crease, it almost is like a crease color in itself. I use this on its own. I think it's gorgeous. And it just wears beautifully. It doesn't crease throughout the day. I think it's a really beautiful base and a really beautiful eyeshadow. So this is the color. It's not my skin tone, obviously, but it's a really beautiful base. Now, I thought I was done with this, so I was scraping it almost clean, but then I took out the putty, I scraped out the product from the base, and I had this much left. So I'm gonna pan what I've got in this pot. That's gonna be my priority. And then what I'm gonna do, and which will take a couple of months to be fair, there's quite a lot in there. But then after that, I actually have a few stick products that I wanna focus on. So stick eyeshadow sticks that I wanna start using throughout the year as eyeshadows or as a sort of base to an eyeshadow, because I do have a few of those. So I think they're going to start going dry soon. So yeah, focus on this and then throughout the year sort of incorporate stick eyeshadows. Now when it comes to powder eyeshadows, I'm sort of reining it in. I know that panning a whole palette, unless I really love all the shades, is not really my kind of thing. So I'm going to try to pan a duo. This is a NARS duo. I actually made this. So these are the sort of duos that you can take out, so you can pop them out. They're magnetic, so you can pop the shades out and customize them. So this shade here, which is a really beautiful cool tone shimmer, it's called Earthshine. It's gorgeous. So what I love about this, it's sort of like it's a nice topper for one. So over that eyeshadow primer, it's sort of, the eyeshadow primer is obviously warm and sort of a caramel brown shade. And this adds this sort of beautiful, cool shift to it. It's almost pinky with some blue shimmer. So overall, it looks a little bit like silvery purple. But if you blend it out quite sheerly, it just gives this beautiful glow to the face. This could also be a highlighter if I wanted a cool tone highlighter. So this is very, very pretty. It's just easy to throw on and have a bit of like a luminosity on the eye. And then I have a sort of lighter caramel shade to blend that out. Now, while I have the eyeshadow primer in my project pan, this one might be neglected a little bit because having that up into the crease sort of negates the need for this. But this is something that I'll just keep using throughout the year. So yeah, this one already has a dip in it. It's really pretty. I can use it on a daily basis, and it's quite nice to have just a really quick and easy sort of brightening eyeshadow duo that I like the quality of, that I can reach for every day. And if I want something a little bit more fun, I can build on it. So if I want to, you know, incorporate a bit more color, I can do that. If I want to incorporate a little bit more smokiness, I can do that. But these are sort of really basic shades that I can start any look with, which is, you know, I should get some good progress with that. Now, when it comes to eyeliner, I've actually changed what I was planning on panning. So when I did the live chat, we picked a different one. I've been using this quite a lot in the last month or so. I really like the effect of it, and the main reason I am going for this is because I think the liquid side is getting a bit dry and I want to use it before it goes, because it's actually a nice eyeliner. So this is from Huda Beauty, and it's a life liner in Very Vanta. Now this has two sides. You pull one side and it's a pencil. So I like to use this for like tight lining, water lining if I want to, predominantly tight lining, so I get rid of that sort of fleshy line. So this does have quite a lot in it, and it's very, very black. They're not wrong. It's very black, so you need to use the smallest amount, but it does work on your tight line and your water line and everything. So that's going to be the black eyeliner I focus on, like the pencil eyeliner. And then when it comes to like a liquid or a gel, this on this end, there's a little bit of a well, and it's got a brush. So this is the liquid. So what I like to do is apply this on the top lash line, and then I use the pencil to tight line. I find that that combo is really beautiful. I've been really getting back into the black wing liner with a simple eye, which works perfectly with what I'm using. So if I want something shimmery, I'll use this. If I want something matte, I'll just use this by itself. And then a nice bold wing, some mascara, off I go. And I think it's a really striking look. And yeah, this one I know is getting a bit old, and the liquid is getting a bit thicker. So I want to use it up before it goes, and I think it's very pretty. So it wears really beautifully as well. So this is what I'm going to be focusing on. Now, when it comes to mascara, I'm going to be using a mini. I love this. This is the Milk Kush Mascara Mini. I think it works really, really well. This is getting dry, so I think this would be done in a month or two. So it's one of those products that is an easy panning product. It makes things a bit easy for me. So this one is just, you know, yeah, because it's open and because I want to use it. When it comes to full size mascaras, I have two that have been recently opened, so I don't see the point of panning those just yet. I'll get through my mini first. Okay, brow product. This again is what they call a gimme product, which is just a product that's sort of easy to pan. This is a pencil by e.l.f. This is the Instant Lift Brow Pencil, and this doesn't have much left. So it's a retractable pencil, and if I twist it up, it's got this much. Now, to be fair, when I first earmarked this for panning, it had a lot more, but because I used up my brow pomade a few weeks ago, I have been using this. So I think this would be done by my first check-in, which is great, because my goal is to have something done every check-in. And I've also earmarked my next brow product that I want to use, which is actually a brow powder. It's going to take a while, but I'm going to mix it, not mix it, but combine it with a brow gel. So brow powder and then a brow gel. That's sort of the plan. So this is sort of just an easy way to get into the brow products. And then I'm going to hit pretty hard with trying to pan an almost untouched brow powder. Okay, lips. Now I am being quite ambitious this year with lips. I know I can pan quite a few lip oils and lip glosses. So that one is something that I'm going to really lean into, but I've earmarked 4 lipsticks. These are all Hourglass Confession Ultra Slim lipsticks. These are all from the same Christmas packs. There's this year, which was a few years ago now, that had the pink packaging. These are all starting to smell not bad, but not good. So they smell a bit like crayons. So the scent has dissipated. I think it was something with this collection because I've got older lipsticks from this range where the scent is still intact, but for some reason these have gone a bit funky smelling. They smell like the raw ingredients, which isn't super pleasant, but there are some nice shades here. The good thing about these as well is you can actually take them out and reuse the packaging. So if you do buy a refill, you can reuse this beautiful packaging and just get rid of the inside. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just save these packaging, but I'm going to try to use up the 4 lipsticks that came in this set. Now I do have one that's just a refill and then 3 in the bullets. The shades that I have, I've got I Can't Live Without, which is the dark shade. Now this is going to be hard to pan, to be honest. I'm going to try my best. There is quite a lot in there. These are slim lipsticks. They don't contain heaps, but this dark shade is just not a shade that I reach for too often. I'm going to try to maybe mix it with like a gloss to make it look more like a shiny berry sort of gloss or a stain or something. I'm going to try to work on it. I might even use this as a blush occasionally. This is going to be a bit of a challenge for me. It might be one that I hit up more in winter. And then these are all sort of like pinky nudes. I've got the shade You Are My, which is a nice sort of cool toned rosy nude. So that one's probably, again, more of a winter shade for me. And again, we've got heaps in there. So even though these bullets are very small, I can tell you that you only really need to apply these once a day, maybe reapply once after lunch, and they wear really well. So these ones, you only need a small amount, and they're very creamy. They spread over the lips really nicely. You don't need much of it. So this one is the shade If Only, which I have a backup of. This is more of a this is more of a summer nude for me. So that one's a little bit more purple. This one's a little bit more peach. So that one is one that I'll probably focus on the most first. And then I have the shade I Woke Up, which is similar to that. It's just a little bit lighter. So again, this is probably a good summer one. What I'll probably do is focus more on these two, like have these in my handbags, have these out on my desk so I reach for them more often. And then these ones I might lean into on cooler, sort of more wintry sort of looks. But I thought I'll introduce them all at this point, just so I know which ones I want to pan. I've got a bit more variety. It does mean that I'm going to see less progress on them than if I was just focusing on one at a time, but I do like a bit of lip variety, and yeah, I might even mix and match them. But of course, I can't just have lipstick. I need some form of gloss. I need some sort of lip treatment. So I've got 2 more hydrating lip products. I've got the Burt's Bees Hydrating Lip Oil. This smells like passion fruit. It's really nice. This is one that I can wear like any day, any time of the day. It's very, very thin and hydrating, very glossy. You can see there. So this would be one that I could probably layer with some of the other lip products to add to make it sort of like a tinted gloss, I suppose. So I put a little bit there. Even if I mix it with the berry, you can see how you can sort of create a bit of a tinted gloss, which could be really pretty. It could be pretty on the cheeks. It could be pretty wherever. We're going to get experimental. We're going to try to use the stuff. Now, this is sort of like, look, it's hard because there's a big bubble in the middle, but whenever I try to squeeze it down, it comes out. I might settle this and mark it because I find that that's sort of the best way to see it. But yeah, this is halfway done. It's going to take me a couple months to use. And then I'm going to use this little mini Lana Lips. This is the Tinted Lip Balm SPF 30, which is perfect because we're in summer, so we need some SPF on our lips. And this is in the shade Perfect Nude, which is very nice. So if I just want something that's easy to reach for, throw on when I'm in the car or something, this is probably the one to go for if I want a bit of color. And this is a beautiful sort of nude, shiny, glossy color. So those are all the lip products I'm starting with. I feel like I'm going to get most use on the lip oil and lip gloss first. But if I pan those 4 lipsticks this year, I'm going to be very happy. I know from last year that I panned 2 full-size MAC lipsticks and they took me all year. 2 lipsticks, 1 nude, 1 red, all year. So I sort of feel like these 4 sort of sleek lipsticks will take a while. Now, the very last thing I'm panning to finish it all off is a finishing spray. Now, I sort of neglected finishing sprays a bit in my last project pan because I just wasn't using them too much, but I'm hoping that will change. There's some years where I use a lot of them, other years that I don't use any, but I'm going to start with my Shuramura. This is the Sakura Makeup Refresher Mist. I love this. It's got a little bit of oil, so you shake it. It's like a biphase one. So you shake it up so you get a little bit of oil dispensed in it. It's super finely milled, so you get this little like really nice misting. Not only does it make powdered makeup look a lot more natural and fresh, I'm just going, it's hot. I've got the aircon on, it's hot. I'm just going for it because this is nice. So not only does it make your makeup look a lot more juicy and sort of nice, but also it's really nice as like a hydrating, refreshing product, which I will need in winter because I get quite dry skin, and it also feels nice in summer. So I'm hoping if I have this out and about, this is something that I'm going to keep reaching for. Hello, I've got a bit of an update to this project pan. I have been wearing this makeup for the past 2 days and I've noticed an issue that I have. I might have a slight issue with the eyeshadow, but I think I can tackle that maybe by introducing another eyeshadow down the track. But I'm having issues with the highlighter. So this is the Jouer highlighter. It's in rose gold. And like I said, it is sort of like a pink highlighter with a gold, sort of yellowy gold shift to it. It is too yellow and it is too clashing on my skin tone. So despite it looking quite pink, when I put it on, it looks very yellow on me and it sort of just looks not very nice in my opinion. It looks a little bit, stands out too much. It looks a little bit artificial and I don't like it. I think it clashes. So I'm actually going to declutter this. This is going. But what I am going to replace it with is my other Jouer highlighter. I've got 2 of them. So I'm dedicated to panning one of them. So despite it actually looking more yellow in the pan, so this is the rose gold, this is the citrine, it is actually a lot nicer on the skin. It is a more intense highlighter, so I'm sort of not used to it. I'm used to something a little bit more subtle, but I've already got some of the rose gold. But if I put this on, you can see it's just a little less, it's really bold. I don't know what to do. This one's definitely more yellow. That one is less yellow, but do I like it? Okay, I'm having a highlighter crisis. I don't think I like this one either. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab over it with my foundation to start fresh. And we're going to try another one. Another one that I was considering panning is by Nabla. This is definitely a bit more, hopefully harmonious with my skin tone. It is the shade Ozone, and let's try it. So this is much lighter. Let's have a look. Okay, this is unpowdered foundation, so it's obviously going to stick a bit more than if I had powdered it. Yeah. That's a bit nicer with my skin tone. What do you think? 2016 highlighter strip. And sort of more 2020 glass skin. I have too many highlighters to hold on to ones that I don't think suit me anymore. So I'm going to pass these on to someone else or declutter them if I can't find a home. So that is what I'm panning. Nabla, Ozone, that's what we're doing. So I've officially got 22 products in my 2024 project pan. I just realized I should have added 2 more products to make it 2024. Look, I'm tempted to go and grab my brow products and be like, let's add them in. But to be fair, I don't only want to use up 24 products this year. It's a rolling project pan. I want to use up as many as possible. And because I used up 50 last year, I feel like I can use up 50 this year. So, yeah, I won't add in 2 more just for the sake of it. We'll use up the brow pencil and then add in more and then see how we go. So 22 products to start with, and you can see how I've used a full face. I don't need to use every single product every time I do my makeup, but the more I use it, obviously the more progress I'm going to make. So that is it. Now I actually am also going to film another project pan intro right after this. I am thinking of doing a sheet mask project pan because I have too many sheet masks. They're all going off. They're all sitting under a sink. I want that space back. And I also want to see if I dedicate a lot of time to using sheet masks, how does my skin, like, is it beneficial for my skin? Is it something I want to maintain? So I'm actually going to also start a sheet mask project pan. I will film the intro now and that will probably be up next. So that is one that's sort of more skincare focused. So let me know if you're doing a project pan this year. What's the structure of it? Is it going to be a mix of skincare and, you know, beauty products? Is it going to be cream only? Is it just an eyeshadow palette? Is it just base products? Like, how are you structuring it? Are you excited? And best of luck anyway. So let's sound off in the comments. I love to chat about project panning and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.